Oh, okay. Welcome to Westside Technology Declassified, episode number 2, recorded December 15th, 2015. And today we have Dr. Lee, as in last time, along with us with
Good,
technology integration.
good afternoon, everybody.
And we also have Dr. Greg Betts with us from Professional Learning. You want to say hi, Dr. Betts?
Yes, thank you for having me on the show today. Pleasure to be
So,
here.
so we have a wide variety of topics today. We're going to talk a little bit about drones and some hour of code events that took place in the district in the last few weeks or so. Again, we have Dr. Betts as a guest, and we have some holiday tips for you, as well as some professional learning opportunities. So I'm going to start out with one holiday tip here, is that from my chair I see that this season can be kind of a bad season for our district laptops that leave our building. Um, you leave work, put your laptop in your car, maybe when you go shopping, do you finish up your holiday shopping, or you stop at a gas station or stop at the grocery store. A couple bad things can happen there. If you end up leaving your laptop in the car, it is finally getting cold, and the LCD and the L and liquid crystal display, that's liquid, and so that freezes if it gets too cold. And I kind of blew my punchline on that, sorry guys. But so we really don't want you to leave your laptop at any length of time out in a cold car, because it causes all kinds of bad things to your laptop. Also, if you leave your laptop where it's visible in a car, we've had cars broken into in the past at grocery stores and at malls and things like that, where the laptops disappear, and we not only have to replace them, but you have all kinds of personal information and things on those laptops as well. So if you have to leave your laptop in your car, make sure you put it out of sight, locked in a trunk would be the best place for it. One last thing that this season can cause problems with is we tend to have a lot of guests in our home, whereas the places that you've kept your laptop safely for all throughout the year is fine, but when you bring new people in with new pets and new little children, keep that in mind, that you want to really make sure that your laptop's kept in a safe place where they won't get stepped on or knocked off of a counter. So we'd really like to get through the whole holiday season here with everybody coming back with their laptops and their laptops intact. So
those are some good points there, Paul.
Thank you. You want to talk a little bit, Dr. Lee, about the drones and the hour of code?
Sure, yeah. So December is the Hour of Code month, and Westside has really kind of embraced it, and we have a lot of different buildings doing a lot of different events for it. One of the things that we started this year that we hadn't been able to do before was what I'm calling Attack of the Drones. We started off going through and teaching elementary students how to program drones. And so we worked with Jeff Ingram from ESU3 and worked with our tech team here, and we started off kind of small, working with our Emerge group, and then brought that out to different elementary buildings. Dr. Betts, you were there at one of the Emerge group where we first tried it, weren't you?
Oh yes, that was exciting to see the teachers getting to use the drones and their engagement with, okay, not only do I get to fly a drone, but I have to use coding to make the drone fly where I want it to. So
yeah, and I thought, one of the cool things is we started with the teachers first to kind of get them comfortable, since when you talk to somebody and say, hey, you're going to be programming a drone, it can be a little intimidating. And so here we have a few of our elementary teachers experimenting with drones and programming for the first time. And so we set up an obstacle course for them in the gym over at the CCC, and we gave them different tasks. And they had to work together, they had to apply problem-solving skills, they had to apply programming skills, all in order to complete this obstacle course. And so you can see there the drones and the hula hoops that they were trying to fly through. They didn't know any programming coming into this, but just using the app, it's an app called Tickle, they were able to do block-based programming, and that let them tell the drone where to go, and they were able to accomplish these different obstacles. From that, we were able to kind of inspire some people to go out and try it themselves. And just based on the conversations that we've had, it's been super, super popular. We've gone out, I think we're at 4 of the 10 elementaries so far doing a little activity with their students. And so we're grateful enough that Jeff Ingram is here with us, that he can help out. And so here he is talking to a class at Hillside, introducing some drone safety concepts, talking about the different ideas that you need with programming. We were having first graders, we were having to discuss what is a degree, and of course when you say what's a degree, they go how hot or cold it is. But in this case, we were actually really talking about degrees in a circle, and if I turn 90 degrees, what does that mean? Or if I do a 360, what does that mean? Or if I do a 180? And so we introduced them to those concepts, went over some different safety things, what to do if the drone gets out of control. And then we really kind of set them up into groups here. And then as a group, they went through and they did the same obstacle courses that the teachers were doing. And so then we were kind of going through and taking a look at it.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Today's World Herald front page had a picture of a drone in flight over a state park, I believe. They use them for monitoring wildlife and other things in the parks.
Yeah, that was one of the neat things when Jeff was talking to the students. We started off with, how do you use these drones in real life? Are they just toys, or can they actually be used for something? And it was really kind of cool to hear all the different things, like you said, monitoring crops. He was talking about farmers that would use the drones to keep track of the cattle on the ranch. Drones for search and rescue in areas that have been flooded. They're able to use the drones to go over and take pictures and figure out where the survivors are and go out and rescue them. It's actually really amazing, in addition to being fun, but letting the students see kind of a practical side of, practical use for the technologies that they're learning about. The other thing I wanted to highlight is part of the hour of code, I just showed you using drones and programming, but we also had a lot of students, and here you can see some pictures from the middle school during their hour of code event. But a lot of people used the website hourofcode.com or code.org. Those are 2 websites, and I'll put links to those in the show notes here. But they're websites that introduce students and introduce people to what coding is. So maybe you don't have access to a drone or an iPad to program that drone with. You're still in luck, because Hour of Code and code.org has tutorials put together that walk you through the basics. And it's going to appeal to everybody from, somebody who is just, in kindergarten, first, second grade, all the way up through high school and college. The one website has tutorials for every different ability level. And so it's kind of neat to see our teachers engage with it. So we've done a lot of the elementaries. I know different teachers at Loveland have done Hour of Code events. We've done stuff at Hillside, Sunset, lots of different elementary buildings we've had a chance to go with. And I know the high school does a lot with coding as well for the Hour of Code.
Great, that sounds really exciting. Any other buildings that are going to be having the drones come in? The attack of the drones?
Yes, the attack of the drones. I think we've done Prairie Lane, I think a couple weeks ago, and on Wednesday this week, coming up here tomorrow as we record this today, we're actually going to be at Sunset and working with 3rd through 6th graders at Sunset on programming their first drones. Excellent.
Sounds like a lot of fun. You probably could play off of the Star Wars mania that's coming up with the Attack of the Drones theme here as well. So.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I find interesting is this technology is really accessible. And you've seen the BB-8 drone that you can buy, the BB-8 toy. Those can be programmed just like the drones we were using. So as a little plug, if you're looking for a holiday gift here for the month of December, the drones that we were using were the Parrot Rolling Spider was the flying one, and then the Sphero drone is one that rolls on the ground, and you can program it to have it go forward and backwards and change color and do lots of different things.
Okay. Well, you gave me a perfect segue into my second little public safety announcement, my holiday shopping tip here. Um, just want our listeners to think for a minute if your hard drive on your computer were to crash and you did not have a backup. Now, our Westside Technology staff can do miraculous things to try to help you, but sometimes there's just nothing that they can do if a drive is just totally failed. So really what we like to stress to you that it's really important to have a backup. And one of the ways that we encourage people to have a backup, it's become really inexpensive now. This is a Western Digital external drive. You can get a terabyte USB drive for about a little less than $60 and a 2 terabyte one for about $80. And you can get them from Best Buy or Nebraska Furniture Mart or Walmart or any place like that. And then with your Mac, you can just plug it in and your time machine will start working. The first time it syncs up, it'll take quite a bit of time, but then after that, every time you plug it in, it'll just do a backup of the things that have changed on your device. So, if you're thinking about a gift for someone that you love, there's nothing like the gift of data security, being able to give them the backup of all those irreplaceable family photos and work files that they've created. That would be just a really good investment, I think, and a good gift to give someone.
And how much did you say those different drives were? 'Cause I think they've really come down in cost, haven't they?
Yeah, I just checked a site today, and one of these USB the ones that get the power through the USB, a terabyte one was just right at $60, and a 2 terabyte one was about $80.
Yeah, so those have really come down. Yeah, that's a good deal.
And a terabyte should be plenty of space for most of our devices as backup, unless you're Dr. Betts.
Because how big?
Then you need much more storage and backup. So.
Well, minimum 4 terabyte usually does the job for that. So.
For you.
For you, yeah, thank you. But at home, I do have one of those 1 terabyte drives also. I think it's a red one like that, and it's really easy to use and does the job.
Yeah, because I would point out that even a terabyte is several times larger than the built-in hard drive in the MacBook Airs that we have. So you should be plenty good, except like you said, if you're Dr. Betts.
Those videos and pictures, they just take up a lot of room. So.
Yeah. So
well,
make sure you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say. So I think next up here, we're going to spend a little time talking to Dr. Betts here about professional learning at Westside, because I think you've done some really cool stuff with integrating technology into professional learning for both new and existing staff. So do you want to maybe take a moment and kind of walk us through some of the things that you've started to implement?
Sure, Matt. I think if you would, you have control there, I believe. Are you able to show the Google Classroom?
Yep, I'm in the Google Classroom here.
All right, perfect. So starting off, it's important to use technology to make sure that we are connected as a district, as a staff, and it's to continue to think about how are we going to leverage technology to help student achievement. So starting with that, all new teachers who join us here at Westside, we start a Lighthouse Educator Academy Google Classroom, and it allows us to have conversations. You can see some posts on here. Recently on December 3rd, I put a link to an interesting article on grading practices. But the nice thing about this is it allows us to have a conversation back and forth, and it gives us the history of our conversation. So that's been really nice, and we do that with all of our staff or all of our teachers new to us, and along with coaching and professional learning. So if you would, any questions for me as I move on to the next one?
Yeah, could you maybe just in 15 seconds explain what you mean by the academy, the Lighthouse Academy?
The Lighthouse Educator Academy is for all new staff coming to Westside, so it's a way for us to support new teachers to our district. And as we continue to move forward, we are looking at ways to make sure we are differentiating the support for all of our teachers, because teachers come to us with different skill sets too. So it's not the one-size-fits-all model, and that continues to evolve for us.
I've heard of
Very
that
cool.
personalization theme before in the district.
You know,
Somewhere I've heard it before.
if we're going to personalize learning for students, we should be thinking about how to model that for our teachers. So that's probably where you've heard about that before, Dr. Lindgren, from our strategic plan, maybe?
Maybe.
Maybe, yeah, that's good. So moving on to the next one is our professional learning website. And we, as a district, Matt, you've had some help with this too, is having a one-stop shop for who are we as a district to tell our story and to provide resources. So, like for example, if you would click on the Personalized Learning tab. So in here, it is just a little short couple paragraphs about what is personalized learning to Westside. And then below here, we have some links to, that's Andrew Easton on the right talking about how is he personalizing learning at the high school. And the one on the left is Becca Crackey telling her story at Oakdale. And then we also have 2 links to some other sites there. So it's not the depository of all resources we have, but it does give people a little bit of an idea of what we're doing and how are we personalizing learning for all of our students. And on here too, I would just highlight, we have lynda.com, which I think, Dr. Lindgren, you may have mentioned this before in your first podcast.
Yes, I believe we did.
Session we had. So we have that link on there for students, or for staff and students. And then finally, if you would just go up and click on instructional best practice, this continues to evolve, and we are looking at ways of continuing to support our teachers, especially with the Charlotte Danielson framework for teaching model. And so, Dr. Lee, if you'd click down to domain 3. So domain 3 is instruction, and then here are some ways to help teachers with supports for instruction. So what do we believe as a district about anticipatory set? What's the research? What are those deeper level things we should be thinking about?
So this is really kind of a great one-stop shop for people, just to kind of go to one spot, and then has links to all the different content areas that you talk about.
Mm-hmm. And then as we can continue to build this on our intranet side, we'll have some example videos and some more resources on the backside for us.
Great.
And then with that, on the personalized learning, those videos that were on there are here on our professional learning YouTube channel. And Dr. Lee, if you'd go over and click on playlists. So under playlists, if you like personalized learning, there are some personal videos or district-wide videos like this one from Oakdale. And then we also have examples from experts that we subscribe to some of their stations also. And then going back, we should have one on elementary writing sessions there, yes. And so as we continue to provide professional learning for our teachers, we're starting to capture that on video and go through, edit the film, and then put that out for teachers who are unable to attend the session and have the opportunity to go back and do some flipped classroom if they wanted to do some relearning again. And then last but not least, we continue to build content and courses for teachers. And then this is an example from our Westside Blackboard classes. This one's on motivation. And so as we continue to build these modules, we're looking at maybe new ways, but different ways of delivering content to teachers who, as they come to us with more skills and deeper levels of learning, we're continuing to look at how does our district evolve in providing supports for all of our teachers. And one of those ways is creating online modules through our Blackboard account. So that was a lot there in a short amount of time. Do you have any questions for me or any other things you'd like me to expand on?
Well, I guess one question I would have for you is, could you talk about the process that you went through to engage some of these digital resources? Because what I'm seeing is a lot of what classroom teachers are doing. making a Blackboard page, trying some of these ideas of flipped classroom with posting videos and resources online, letting people watch it, and then come back together to discuss it. Could you maybe, from your point of view as Director of Professional Learning, talk about how that process went for you a little bit?
This is my second year in this position, and when I took this job, one of the big things for me was how do we model best instructional best practices for our teachers that we're wanting our teachers to use for our students. And so with that comes, what are we asking teachers to do? We should be providing those same forms for learning and modeling those examples and providing those supports. So thinking about our excellent program we've had for, how do we support new staff, that's where we really started with, flipping some of that content, giving teachers different access to the content, and they want different ways to learn. They want they want to go at their own pace and learn at their own place, and so we're providing those examples too. And some of the newer teachers coming to us, they expect that because that's what they're getting in their undergrad classes, and so it just models for them, that we are continuing to personalize learning not only for students but for teachers.
Great.
Wow, this is really different than the new teacher training that I went through when I came to the district.
Me too.
1 or 2 years ago.
Yeah, the idea of overheads and handouts has gone away to PDFs on our iPads and computers, and doing online interactive learning with, using some things like Socrative and Kahoot for real-time checking for understanding and different ways of learning. So
I think just the ability to go back and review stuff again and again if you miss something is really wonderful.
Mm-hmm. Well, when I first started here at Westside, we had the big 3-ring binder, and that's what you did, and you got your handouts, and you had 3-hole punched them, and now you can have your shared Google folder that we have on our intranet, and if I want to learn more about Closure or our iQuar, learning more about information or asking questions, I've got a one-stop click, and I can read all I want to, and if I need to access it on my phone, I can do that too. So it's kind of hard to carry that 3-ring binder around in your pocket.
Well, thanks, Greg, for joining us today and telling us about what you're doing. Before I give Matt an opportunity to talk about some upcoming training opportunities, I'll kind of segue off of what Greg just mentioned about a shared Google folder. We're on a point of emphasis that as you create folders among groups of people that you're working with collaboratively, one thing that we would like to encourage people to do is to make sure that you're only giving write access, the ability to edit and delete, that kind of access to only limited numbers of people to limited resources, because we're just seeing a couple occasions recently and in the past where people don't quite understand and can be accidentally deleting some work that other people have done. So just really important to can grant view access easily to people in that environment, in the shared Google folder environment, but be really careful and cautious to keep it to a minimum to the number of people that you give edit access. Right, Dr. Lee?
Yep, and just to kind of expand on that a little bit, one of the reasons why people sometimes delete things from their Google Drive is they're worried that it's going to take up too much space, or that they don't like to see the big list of things under the shared with me. One of the cool things about our Google Drive, since we're a school, is we have unlimited space. So as long as it's on the website, it's not hurting anything, it's not taking up part of the space that you would want to use for something. We have unlimited, so it doesn't hurt anything to keep it there, I guess is what I'm going for with that.
Yeah, so when in doubt, don't throw it out on Google, correct?
That would be correct, yes.
When in doubt, don't throw it out. Dr. Lindgren, that is good advice.
That's only in the world of Google, though.
Okay, true.
That's a good show title here. When in doubt, yes. Don't throw it out.
Right. So what do you got coming up for training opportunities, Dr. Lee?
Well, I'm kind of excited here. We have a good spring planned for us. So if we take a look here, at our spring technology trainings, and this is listed on the Area 66 website, so that's area66.westside66.org. There's a button for our professional learning opportunities, and if we take a look in January, coming up after the break here, on January 12th, we have sketchnoting here at Area 66, and so that one's actually proved to be very popular. So if you're interested in coming, I would email Nancy Yount to sign up sooner rather than later for that one. If you don't know, sketchnoting is just a way to take notes that involves drawing as opposed to writing an outline. Then in February, we're going to be working on iMovie. So we kind of have a two-part iMovie training, working with how to do green screen by combining the laptops that are in every elementary with using the iPads as video cameras, which is kind of fun, and then working on some iMovie basics. So if you've never used iMovie, the training in February should be good for you.
That looks like a lot of fun stuff.
But yes, I think so. I think it should be good.
And the reality is that the famed Area 66, because of the bond and construction and swing school, its days are numbered as far as the location. So encourage people to come in and get those last sessions in at the old Area 66 before it fades off into the Milky Way.
Yep, come one more time, and I'd say take a souvenir, but don't. We'll be checking, so it's not like the old Yankee Stadium or the old Memorial Stadium field turf. We don't encourage people to come in and take a souvenir, but we do encourage you to come in and attend a training and take some pictures and make some memories.
Dr. Lee, are you still giving out prizes from your treasure box for some of your professional learning sessions you're offering after school?
The treasure box had to go upstate to live with Uncle Joe and live out its life on the farm, free to run in the wild.
Good to know. Good to know.
That's a long way of saying we don't have anything from the treasure box specifically, but you do get the great company of myself and Bridget and all of the great information that we go over.
Always well planned out, and always, you can always leave with at least 2 or 3 things on how you can impact students, the very next day in your classroom. So, always appreciate those sessions that you offer.
Okay, well, thanks, guys, for your time, and thanks to our audience for taking a look and taking a listen. And when will we do our next one, Dr. Lee? Are we doing these every month or every 2 months? I don't remember now.
We're going to be doing these every month, so our next one will be coming up here in January after the break.
I just show up when Matt tells me to, so.
Yep, I think we've kind of settled into this kind of mid-month, so be looking sometimes in the teens in January.
Okay, well, everybody have a great break, and thanks for tuning in.
You too. Thanks for the invite, fellas.
Yep. Thank you, Dr. Betts.